ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। So it has been an interesting journey. The last 13 weeks, we have gone and talked about multiple topics. We are into the one before our grand finale, and for what we want to do is quickly share. This is the YouTube link if we run out of capacity on Zoom, and this is the link for asking questions. Both these links have been shared on the chat on Zoom as well. So if you have any questions, please click on the link on the chat, and you can type in your questions there. We will ask Swamiji those questions. So the topic for today is relevance of Bala Vihar for the entire family, and the topic is very what we did let all centers know is if any of the parents want to join, they can join as well. Hopefully we'll have some parents also joining who are not teachers, but definitely very interesting topic. And our presenter for today is Swami Ishwarananda ji. Swami Ishwarananda ji is the resident Swami of Chinmaya Mission Los Angeles and the guiding Swami of Chinmaya Mission Seattle. Swamiji is presently one of the directors of Chinmaya Mission West, which oversees the activities in North America. Previously, Swamiji was part of Chinmaya Mission Bangalore, where he served as the secretary. Swamiji's own spiritual journey began when having been inspired by Param Pujya Swami Chinmayananda ji and with the guidance of Swami Brahmananda, he left his field of software consultancy and joined Sandipani Sadhanalaya in Mumbai in 1991. Upon completing his Brahmachari training in 1993 as Brahmachari Someshwar Chaitanya, he served Chinmaya Mission centers in Bangalore and Calcutta and eventually as resident Acharya of Chinmaya Mission Los Angeles. In March of 2000, he was given Sannyasa Diksha by Pujya Swami Tejomayananda ji and was named Swami Ishwarananda Saraswati. Swami Ishwarananda ji served the mission in Los Angeles until 2001. Swamiji was then made the Acharya in charge of Sandipani Sadhanalaya in Mumbai for the 12th Brahmachari batch from 2002 through 2004, thereafter returning to Los Angeles. Swamiji is a dynamic speaker and has given talks on Vedanta, stress management, management techniques, and other such related field. We are fortunate to have Swamiji join this online training session and present his talk to us about the relevance of Bala Vihar for the entire family. So with that, I will now bring over, request Swamiji to take over. And here we go.
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् First of all, my sincere appreciation to the team who have been conducting and organizing the teachers training program online for many months now, and we are at the last part of it. And my views on this topic, relevance of Bala Vihar for the entire family, is what I'm going to present today. Way back in the 60s, when Gurudev decided to design a program for the children, he came to that conclusion that the Bala Vihar activity should be conducted for young children after observing how there was a lack of cultural, religious, and spiritual awareness among adults. Even though he was giving Jnana Yajnas, and many of the parents or the adults were attending, but they did not have the background properly. So he thought that it is better to start from the children. And these children, when they grow up with the right values and right understanding of their own culture, the future parents will be better. That was his vision. 60 years later now, we are reaping the benefits of it. For I know most of the teachers in all our Chinmaya Mission centers were those who were in Bala Vihar in the 60s and 70s and 80s. They reaped the benefit at that time as well as now. They are able to share their thoughts, share their experiences with this generation. If they had not been there at that time, regularly attending Bala Vihar, while their parents were taking them and making sure that they learn stotrams and bhajans and the philosophy, if they have not done at that time, we would be lacking a lot of our Bala Vihar teachers now. I'm sure in every center there are at least a handful of them who have been to Bala Vihar in this country itself, and they have decided to come and share their thoughts to the younger generation. The usual question that is raised by parents is, Swamiji, why are my sons so different from each other? One is so good like me, the other is like my husband. Why? We have fed them the same food, provided the same kind of education, everything. And this is something not unique. Every household has got it. There is a constant and deep sense of demand from within us known as vasanas, which might have come with us from previous lives or probably acquired in this very life. We cannot easily recognize the source of each. And Gurudev, while he used to explain the concepts And the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, he used the PMI chart, and predominantly below the Om, you would have seen V, the vasanas. Deep-rooted impressions we have gathered over many, many lives. And he used to explain, they dictate and they direct and they regulate our thought process. This concept of vasanas is so unique to Hinduism, which believes in the theory of rebirth, because deep-rooted impressions are not only created in this life, they have come to us from many, many lives before. Otherwise, you will never be able to explain how two children or two or more of the same family are behaving so different from each other. What is that uniqueness of each of those personality? What is that they have been carrying on which makes them different, behave differently, speak differently, choose things differently? A smart people with great education can still behave oddly. Certain behaviors are not dictated by a person's education or standard of life, but by their inner personality. And in our Vedanta, we say this vasanas, unless they are overcome, there is nothing called liberation possible. Vasana kshayo vai mokshaha. Only when the vasanas are reduced, there is freedom. In fact, as the vasanas get reduced, you can start enjoying the freedom here and now. So a child that arrives in your home filled with certain vasanas which you cannot predict or have full control over, at that point you need to teach the child how to moderate these vasanas to foster her or his own growth. This is the prime responsibility of the parents. When the parents do not themselves get exposed to this knowledge, only send their children to the Bala Vihar and they go for shopping or go for a movie or sit in the car, they have no idea about what is being taught in the Bala Vihar class, much less they would follow it up at their home. And so they do not change. I often tell the parents, when the children come to Bala Vihar, they grow, you don't. They become mature, you remain the same. Because learning gives maturity. So when the children are learning, at the same time, the parents also equally take interest in knowing about themselves through study group classes or attending the adult satsang. If they don't do that, obviously when the child bringing some new ideas which she or he had learned from the Bala Vihar class, when wanting to apply at home, the parents do not have a clue about what is going on. And since they do not know what the child is up to, what the child is looking for as an encouragement, support from the parents, slowly the child also will lose interest, and obviously no significant change can be seen in the child's growth. The child's mental health is strengthened and stabilized by samskaras learned in Bala Vihar classes, which act as antidotes to vasanas that are harmful for the child's mental health. Now one may wonder, what is the difference between vasanas and samskaras? Vasanas are those which we have gathered over many lives, as I said before, And they are part and parcel of our personality from the day we are born. And we do not even know how many of them are there. Vasanas of various kinds. They all start to manifest only when the opportunities or the environment comes on our way. And so, the vasanas which are inherently there in the personality, which are most of the time unmanifest, when they come to manifest, it's quite surprising for the parents. Why is my child is like this? It is not suddenly he became like that. It has been there, it is now coming to manifest, coming to express. Now parents do not know what to do. Even in our own case, this applies to adults also, and every member of the family. When we start observing that certain inherent tendencies are there in us, which on the right environment come to manifest, we ourselves are surprised. And at that point of time, we do not know what to do. So, when the children are coming to Bala Vihar, through the stories, Ramayana, Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, and the stories about the great saints or the avatars of God, values, when they are taught, they are added impressions. These positive impressions which are given to the Bala Vihar children at the classroom act as antidotes to inherent vasanas. They are called samskaras. Samskaranat samskaraha iti uchyate. Because they purify. When the vasanas express, a child or even adult for that matter, when they express, we do not know whether we should go with that or not. And most of the time we don't have a choice. Only when we are given the information about the possible choice that you may adopt to, when such kind of thoughts arise in your mind, then the choices are known, then the child can choose to not to behave as dictated by the vasanas. I'll give a simple example. Let us say that you are going to a party and a lot of sweet items are there, as usual in our Indian parties are there always. Most of the cheese and very fatty sweets are there. But before you left for the party, you got the report from your doctor, whom you have visited previous week, that you have a high sugar, you are diabetic, and also you have problem of obesity. So the doctor has warned you, called you and said, please be careful, do not indulge too much. I know you have been doing it for a long time, don't do it. You have to take care of it. So when you reach the party and you see all the sweets, even though you have a natural tendency to go for it, the new information that you gained from your doctor and the report caution you, don't do it. Even though I have a choice to go for it, but I make a new choice of containing myself, disciplining myself, controlling myself. For my health is more important than indulgence and immediate pleasure. This purushartha, this self-effort, which you come to employ is coming from the new information that has reached you. It has given you the choice. You become aware what will happen if you continue. In the same way, vasanas dictate our behavior, but we need not be victims of those vasanas. When the Bala Vihar children are given this samskaras in the form of stories, anecdotes, illustrations, they do definitely are able to think differently, at least in the given small atmosphere created in the Bala Vihar room. But they step outside when they come to home or they go to school. How effective it would be if it is not reinforced back at home. In everyday weekday, the child is spending more than 6 to 8 hours in the school. And after one whole week of 6 to 8 hours in a school, amounting to around 30 hours or 30 or 40 hours of the week, 1 hour Bala Vihar class, how will that really help? Tell me. Unless the parents are able to make sure that what is learned in the Bala Vihar class is collectively, as a family, practiced at home. Then the child, observing that my parents are also interested in growing, parents are also interested in doing things differently, correctly. They also have been practicing compassion, truthfulness, loving, which is taught as well as samskaras for me as values in the Bala Vihar. Now I can see is demonstrated at home. So the child get reassured, even though there will be influence at the school when the child goes, but slowly, it will gather its strength because there is a support system at home as well. See, samskaras are also known as rituals in the Hindu culture. You may have a desire for wealth and pleasure by itself. Nothing wrong with this. What is under discussion is how those desires should be pursued, haphazardly, according to impulse, or in a disciplined manner. As proper education and profession are right means to wealth, marriage is the proper way of expressing desire for pleasure. Therefore, marriage is also a samskara. So it is managing your desires properly. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are the 4 Purusharthas or human goals. But acting according to Dharma, that is a choice. Again, pursuing wealth according to what one can earn through one's own proper education, etc. So acquiring wealth is not condemned in Hinduism. Or going for pleasures of human life, yes, properly do it in the proper manner, that is also accepted. Bhagavan Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharadarshava. The desire that is not opposed to dharma is me, myself. So Hinduism is not against wealth or against joy and pleasures of life, but correctly doing it. That is what is being taught. It is not that all Bala Vihar children are expected to be renunciates, sannyasins. That is not the purpose. To make them good citizens, good people, morally, ethically sound people, doing their best in this world, and pursuing their desires in the proper way, allowing themselves to grow and allowing the society in which they are living also to grow, helping the community to become better. As our own pledge would say, we stand as one family bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, etc. Producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. Is it what? Renunciation? Every week we chant, isn't it? Or we say this pledge. producing more than what we consume, giving more than what we take. We know our responsibilities. So when the children are given that kind of a positive outlook about life, don't the parents be part of that process? It is necessary. If not for you yourself, which is, I would insist that it is necessary for every parent, no doubt about it. But even if it is not, please be there for your children to know that you are there to support. You are there to encourage. Don't you go to your child's soccer game or all other games when he plays. You are there in the stand and cheering up. Don't you do that to make sure that your child is doing our best? Why don't you do that in Bala Vihar? Cheer them up. Make them happy when they are performing on stage. Only when they are performing on stage, all the parents will come up with their cameras and only at that time I see them. Why? Because the children are performing. Take the video, send it to the grandparents or put it in the YouTube, Facebook. But for their inner growth, you should equally encourage them, not merely for their presentations on stage. So, when it comes to this topic of samskara, the first is laukika samskara, which we practice when we are with the people. These need to be taught to the children by their parents because children will not learn by themselves. They are both karma samskaras and bhava samskaras. Before we go to the verse which I am going to explain, the verse that is, sorry, the verse that is there. Once I went to somebody's house, and as a tradition, they were holding a Purna Kumbha, and they were chanting the Nakarmanana Prajaya, etc. So after finishing that, they told the children, one is a 5-year-old, another is 10-year-old, come and do namaskar to Swamiji, welcome him. The children are looking at each other and they looked at the parents also. They could not understand what do you mean by namaskar. So they did this. No, fall at his feet. And they do not know what do we mean by falling at the feet. Because they have never seen anyone doing it. The parents were not doing to their parents. And therefore, they have never seen it. So they said, what should I do? Fall flat on the floor? Then I told the parents, you show them. What is that? What is it to do the namaskar to a person coming as a Swami or even elders? When you do it regularly to your parents, and when the children see it, they know what it means. When you never show them, how do they know? So it is important that the children are observing us and our behavior, the way we speak, the way we do things are all going to create samskaras in the mind of the children. So that is why this particular verse is important, which I will explain. Vastrena vabusha vacha vidyaya vinayena cha vakara panchabirhinaha naro napnodi gauravam. Vakara panchabirhinaha naraha gauravam na apnodi. A person who lacks these 5 will not ever get respect or recognition in the world. First one is Vastram, second is Vapuhu, third is Vak, fourth is Vidya, fifth is Vinaya. What we wear and how we wear our clothes is what is noticed by people first. So in the Laukika Samskara, it is important for the children to be taught not to wear shabby clothes or have their uncombed hair. I mean, they try to imitate the immediate generation of their own people, children, but need not be right. It is the responsibility of the parents, and that is the reason why in most of our Bala Vihar centers we insist that the children should come wearing the proper Indian clothes, properly ironed or cleaned or washed, and also have chandan or kumkum on their forehead. Why these are important? Because your presentation, the appearance makes a difference. Even if one is not wearing religious marks on the head, it is okay. Nothing on the forehead, it is okay. But at least be a presentable person. When somebody looks at you, feels like smiling at you, happy looking at you. Many of the children, when they come to Bala Vihar, they just would have got up 10 minutes or 15 minutes before. And when they come to Bala Vihar, we can even see the impression of the pillow on their head. Meaning what? The parents have not woken up in time. They themselves have not woken up in time. And then rushing the children to get back into the Bala Vihar, like the way they do to the schools. That should not be the case. That is why the parental participation is important. That they also, as a family, make it as a commitment to come with a proper dress. Vastram. Then Vapu. Vapu means how one carries oneself among the people. The way, the demeanor, the gestures. That also the children may not know. In the beginning stages, when they are very young, they do not know how to behave or what way one should, greet the elders, the teachers, and how to even behave with among the children, saying Hari Om, when they go to the temple doing Namaskar there, and if they have flowers in their hand, picking up from their backyard or the garden and coming and offering to the altar. These are all the things, gestures, which the parents have to teach them. The teacher of the Bala Vihar teacher may say such things in the classroom, but then, she cannot be or he cannot be there all the time watching every child. So it is a responsibility of the parents. Walk, speech. It's very important because the way a person speaks shows his or her culture. And the children, when they speak loosely what they have learned in the schools, because the children from various cultures and various backgrounds, they would come and they may not have the discipline of the properly communicating. So it is important for the parents to make sure that the children, the language that they use, the words that they choose to communicate need to be monitored. The parents have to monitor that. In fact, I tell most of the parents, at least the child should have one more language, Indian language, to know. They should know, apart from their, language here, English or whatever. They may learn French or Spanish, everything. But they also should know the language from the land in which they have come, their parents have come, because language is a connector to the culture. When you want to learn something about a culture, you should know that language. Then only it is easy. You can go to the books and learn more about that culture. So since the parents have come from India, and if they want really the children to have the roots very well laid towards that Bharatiya culture, then they should speak in one of the Indian languages which they are familiar at home, and making the children have the good vocabulary of that language. So speech has to be monitored and disciplined. Vidya, then what knowledge that they gain. Of course, in the school they get the regular things, but when they are taught about Mahabharata or Ramayana or Bhagavatam, etc., in the Bala Vihar, please make sure that you back at home sit there with them. Ask them questions about what have you learned? What are the characters do you like? Why do you like those characters? What is that very important message in this particular episode of the story? Tell me, I don't know. And make the child explain, correct it if needed, and refine it, fine tune it so that the child knows the message in the story. And that way, the parents can also learn. Obviously, many of them who don't even know. So they also learn from the children, and they also can make sure the child has that main points, main subject matter clearly in their mind. Vinaya. This is what lacks in the Western culture. What we have learned in the Hindu culture is that irrespective of what the other person is, always be respectful. Be humble. Humble does not mean, humility does not mean weakness. Only a strong person can be really humble. Only a man of knowledge knows how much he doesn't know. Vidya dadadi vinayam. Really good knowledge will make you humble. The humility is a beautiful trait. And great masters, many great masters, in spite of their highest wisdom, etc., they still had great amount of humility. And that is really an ornament for knowledge. A person who gives respect to people around him is always respected. Give respect and take respect. So that's what Gurudev said. You give love, you get love. You give respect, you get respect. So we saw that karma samskaras and bhava samskaras, about the 5 V's. Vastram, vapuhu, then vastram, vak, vidya and vinaya. Right. So the second one is adhyatma samskaras, which all of you know, those who studied Vedanta, Viveka, Vairagya, Shatsampati, and Mumukshutvam. So the samskaras are like shock absorbers. While driving a car over many bumpy roads, how important is this shock absorber? So if the car did not have them, what would be the condition of our teeth and the backbone? Samskaras provide mental cushions. It is the vaccine shot that gives immunity against anger and other disturbances when the community of people we live in doesn't behave in the way we expect them to behave. So for the samskaras to become effective, the children must be exposed to those who practice them, both at home and at Bala Vihar. So if the parents are not exposing themselves to the correct knowledge through study group or attending lectures, etc., which will help them to pursue their own spiritual sadhana, then the children who grow under their guidance not only have teachers in the Bala Vihar, they have teachers at home as well. I have always seen in many of the centers, most of the centers, the children who come there not only for Bala Vihar, for all other events and celebrations, they come very regularly. Only those children I have seen whose parents are also very deeply involved in the mission activities. When the parents take so much interest to come and volunteer and do seva, children naturally pick up that trait. And I have seen it again and again. Most of the active members of the mission, they have their children some way or other involved, at least when they are in the school or once they have gone to the university, perhaps they may not be that active. But when they are in the school, when they are coming regular to Bala Vihar, they participate much better than all others. Why? Because the parental influence is there. The importance of going to Bala Vihar very regularly, even for adults, cannot be overemphasized. There is this Subhashita which said, Acharyat padamadatte padam shishya swamedaya padam sabbrahmacharibhyah padam kalakramena cha. A quarter of the knowledge is gained from the teacher, another quarter from independent thinking and reflection. Third quarter is by discussing with fellow students, and the final quarter is in due course of time. This is applicable even in any other fields of knowledge also, especially when learning about religion, learning about spirituality, etc. We should have that very surely. This is important, as I said, the parents should encourage the children to think independently. Not whatever is said is to be taken 100% as true, not necessary. Just like our body when we eat, it's not all that we eat becomes part of our body. Only the essence is taken and the non-essentials are rejected. In the same way, the children should be given the training that you should think independently. Question before you digest. Think through, and what you are convinced, take it. Gurudev always said that, I am talking to you. You don't need to believe in whatever I say. You think, and whatever is understood by you or whatever you is convincing to you, that you take home and practice. So here, independent thinking must be emphasized by the teachers as well as by the parents at home. And then during the pandemic times, during COVID, many of the classes were held, almost all centers held their classes online. What we found was when the children came back after some time, when the COVID was over, when they came back to Bala Vihar, they were not able to connect with each other that easily. I don't know whether you have noticed that. I have noticed it very clearly, very, very significantly, that the children are not able to connect with adults or with their fellow students that easily. Because 2 years or 2.5 years of not seeing people in that way, in the classroom, in an atmosphere like that, had made them stay away, stay apart. And many of them were reluctant to come back also. Because they said, if they can learn from home, why should I come there wearing a dress and then getting up and driving there and coming? But it is very important. As the third quarter says, Padam sa brahmacharibhyah, meaning learning from other students by discussing with them is also very important means of learning. So too at home, the children must be encouraged to discuss their ideas with the parents. And that way, it is very relevant that the Bala Vihar teachings are to be taken home and make it a practical experience for the children. What is taught, as much as possible, practice it within that week. The parents should make sure that the child is understanding it by her or his own experience. And many of the other things, kalakramena, over a period of time when the child becomes mature, when it starts to face the challenges of the daily life, it will definitely learn more. And I have seen many of the alumni Bala Vihar students who come to start teaching in Bala Vihar, they come to say that, Swamiji, how we are so reluctant to come to Bala Vihar when our parents were insisting. And now I feel that they have done the right thing. Because when I now in the university or in this corporate environment, I know how much of ego, how much of competitiveness goes on. And sometimes it is very frustrating, but the teachings that we have learned from Bala Vihar really make us able to stay put in our principles, in our values, and we are ever thankful for that. So, Kala Kramena, over a period of time, they will also become mature to understand this. So, if the family members also engage in the process of increasing the samskaras, along with the children, the whole family would benefit. And as Gurudev said, family is a small unit of a society. When family improves, the society benefits. And when the society improves, the nations will benefit. So he had that vision that individually, when we start improving, as a family, we'll start improving. Family to society, society to the nation, and the whole world at large. That was his vision. And as you probably know, statistically, that every week in Northern America alone, we have over 20,000 children learning through Bala Vihars. 20,000. And what has been for the past so many years, even if you take 20, 25 years, average, around 15 to 20,000 kids, average, even if you take, how many children have benefited out of this activity? Gurudev started as a small little drop. It has become an ocean. And his vision obviously was not only the children should learn, but also the whole family should become better. And let us work towards that vision. In this 108th year of Gurudev's Jayanti, let us rededicate ourselves to complete that vision of Gurudev. And as we embark to the next big celebration of 75th year of Chinmaya Mission, let us take one more sankalpa, that make every Bala Vihar parent to become actively involved in our own centers, to some projects locally and seva projects, and make sure that every parent has something to do. In the name of the mission, they all have something to do. We must make sure that all of them are positively engaged through our organization, and they will see the benefit after some time. And I'm sure about that, with the Gurudev's blessings, that will be possible. Thank you all for listening to these thoughts which I shared with you. And if you have any questions, please let us conclude this, and then we can go for the question answer session. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om, all of you. I spoke from LA, but I'm answering you from New Jersey.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thanks for joining. So, I think wonderful session, Swamiji. We really enjoyed the session.
Thank you.
There are a few questions, Swamiji, that people have asked online. So I will read them out to you, and then we'll probably go for live questions also.
Sure.
So, first question: we often see teens become or declare themselves as agnostic to religion. How do we reduce the chance of it, and how to interact with them without forcing our views on existence of God or need for spiritual knowledge?
Come the question again. Read the question again.
We often see teens become or declare themselves as agnostic to religion.
Teenagers. Okay.
How do we reduce the chance of it, and how to interact with them without forcing our views on existence of God and the need for spiritual knowledge?
Good. See, Gurudev also started as an agnostic. It's good that he was really an atheist. Agnostic is one who wants proof, not that he or she does not believe in God, but wants proof, right? So we have to approach it to some extent with a logical thought process. That's very important. Because teenagers, then when they're studying in the school or universities, they are provided with a lot of logical explanation about everything. But when we study Vedanta also, really speaking, it is full of logic. Lot of clearance comes in our mind. Very often we do not read or go deep into the study. If the parents, that's why it's important, the parents also take interest in studying Vedanta correctly from the right source. I underline this point, right source. Go to those who studied Shastra. Go to them. Take their guidance. Don't go with the roadside Romeos. Because it is not a blind belief. Nobody accepts a blind belief here in this today's world. So we must have the correct source, and from that source, when you listen and hear and understand, you cannot but understand the logic of it. It's so clear. So it is definitely important for the very question that you're raising. It shows that I am not able to explain. Meaning what? I don't know. Right? So, but the parents cannot complain saying that, oh, my teenager is agnostic. Are you know it? Then you can explain. You see? See, our classes, whether it's a lecture or the study group, etc., must be done with the correct interpretation of the Shastra, correct interpretation of the verses, go deeper into it, and it's unbreakable, unshakable logic that is given everywhere. There is no blindness. So once you know how it is and what it is, you will have patience and love to teach to the teenagers. I have no doubt about that.
Thank you, Swamiji. Next question. How do we maintain continuity of what is taught with Bala Vihar parents in a more impactful way?
See, we must have simple tips of what to practice. Don't go too many things to ask them to do. Simple guidance is necessary. Do this for a month, do this for a week, do this for 10 days. So that way, there are capsules of smaller steps that can be given to those who are interested. Too much of, bombarding them with all the terminologies and this and that, some of them would get very afraid of it also, because I don't want to take more burden on my head. So give them simple tips how to practice the values or practice the teachings, etc. That way, it is very useful to adults as well as to the children. As I said in this talk itself, the children who are given such tips, they want to practice it at home, but parents do not know what is it about. So parents also should have the similar input from attending the classes. So when they are back home, collectively, the parents as well as children can practice together. The family that prays together stays together. The family that smokes together coughs together. That's what Guruji used to say. So it's a collective endeavor. I don't think one person in a family alone can do it without the help of all others. Even in a case of a husband and wife also, if both of them are interested to improve, it will be faster than one person trying to sail the boat.
Thank you, Swamiji. Next question is, even though we encourage children to join Bala Vihar, they simply resist. At this point, what should a parent do?
You should insist. See, the point is, let us say the child is sick. Will you ask the child whether you want to take medicine or not? Do you have a choice there? Why do you think here you have a choice? Vaccination also, even parents don't know what the vaccination does, but it's not the doctor insists that the child should have the vaccination. Why? Because you don't know the consequence if you don't do it. So why should you the responsible parent, why should you give, even if you think, first of all, you should get convinced that it is important for the child. That must very important. If you think it is important for your child to go through the Bala Vihar studies, you should have no hesitation in insisting that the child should go to the Bala Vihar. Many of these kids, who come back after their graduation, etc., they come back to tell me, Swamiji, thank God my parents dragged me into Bala Vihar. Otherwise, I would not know what I would have become. Afterwards only they realize this. So parents should make this clear in their mind first. So long as my child is under my care, child should listen to what I say. It doesn't matter, whatever be the age. Very often what happens is Sunday morning class, Saturday only they say, oh, I have a homework to do. Itna der kiya aapne? Why don't you finish everything? By Saturday night, everything should be done. For Sunday morning is not for anything else. Insist. Definitely you should insist. There's no second opinion about that. Don't ask the kids. Who are they to decide? What do they know? How much maturity they have? No? If the child is watching some useless or trash movies, would you allow that? Why do you say don't? Because you are responsible for the child's mental health, right? And here, as I explained, the samskaras are to be given by the parents only. Where else the child will get the samskaras? What is samskara? Antidote to vasanas. How do they learn? Where do they get the choice? They don't get a choice. So they go by their vasanas and supported by the world, and they go into the doldrums. They must get the alternative way of thinking. They must get the samskaras in right place. And then only later on they realize what my parents did was right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do the children have the choice of going to school at all or not? Why? Why not you give the choice? You know it is important, right? So if you say that 8 hours in a school per day and 5 days a week, it is important. 1 hour a day, 1 hour the whole week, can't you insist that point? Is equally important education. They wouldn't you see that. They go to karate back with taekwondo and all those things. Are they going to fight with your wife every day or what? What is important is to bring the qualities in your mind. That is more important for you to be cohesively living with your family than fighting with what called breaking the stone, etc. Why are you spending time and energy on those things? I don't say that you should not do it. No doubt, child get a lot of discipline out of it. That's what they say. I don't know about that. But this is inner mental discipline. Where do they learn? Do you think? Don't give those chances to the children.
Thank you, Swamiji. Very powerfully said, and I think we should take that to heart. How do I encourage my family members to regularly attend Chinmaya activities?
You do it, others will follow it. Because you stand by the example only. See, many people say, Swamiji, my husband is not coming, my wife is not coming. And what I say to them is, because in spite of you coming to Bala Vihar or to the satsang, you have not improved. Therefore, they have a doubt. So, if you have really learned, if you really understood what is being taught, and they see you improving, that will be sufficient. They will say, wow. One lady was there when after my satsang, few weeks back, she came to me. Swami, I have to tell you something. I said, what it is? So during the COVID years, I did not go back to India. But after some years, now recently I went to India to meet with my parents. Now I have been attending your classes, so I know how to think. So when some issues came up and then we were discussing, and I was giving them correct, calm answers. My parents were so surprised. You used to be very edgy all the time, agitated. Now, how did you become so good? Then she said, Swamiji, it's all because we are listening to Gita and Upanishad, etc. Because it gives you clarity of thinking. And when they visibly see you improving, they wonder why, how. So even at the household, if you are a satsangi, if you are regularly attending, and if you see yourself improving, by seeing your improvement is itself sufficient, you can definitely make others would come along with you. And you, if yourself is not doing anything at home, changing your ways, then they will wonder what is that you're going there and what is the Swamiji teaching you there. They will actually ask me, what is that you're teaching? Nothing happened to me.
Thank you, Swamiji. Somewhat related question. It seems like many adults want the best for their kids, but neglect the best for themselves. What stories or messages have been successful to parents to engage in study groups as well as their kids participating in Bala Vihar?
See, what I would personally think is those parents who have been coming to Bal Vihar consistently with their children or their children graduated, they are the best spokespersons. You see, these people should be connected to seniors of Bal Vihar parents who are still coming and being part of the Seva team, etc. They are the people who should speak about their experience and how it helped them and why it is that they consistently came and why the new parents should do that same thing. They may not see the result right away. So they are the best example. If I say or any one of the Swamis are, they will say, oh, what, because you want to say that, that he has to say. But when the people who have benefited, then they start talking about it. It is like a customer who has used a product. If he speaks about the product is greater than the salesperson does, right?
Yeah.
The testimony should come from the person who has used the product. In the same way, parents who have benefited and still are remaining as sevaks in spite of the fact that the children are already graduated, they are the people who have the correct spokesperson for this. They have to be there and very often introduce them in the congregation and say that, okay, here is a parent whose children have graduated, but still they are with the mission. Let us hear from them what their experiences are. So very often you bring them onto the forefront, ask them to share their thoughts. Then they will, others who are there will know, that they are not in the wrong place.
Thank you, Swamiji. I think it's 10 o'clock, but we'll take one last question. How do we discourage, serious questions, Swamiji. How do we discourage conversion to other religions here? Children will not listen to parents.
See, most of the conversions happen because we are not convinced about what we belong to. There is a lack of understanding that makes the people doubt about their own belief system, their own religion, and other things look attractive to them. So Gurudev very, very clearly said, we are not here to convert Christians and Islam, Muslims and Buddhists to Hinduism. We are here to convince the Hindus about Hinduism. Because we ourselves are doubtful about our own belief, our own faith, our own religion, then very easily we will be swayed or influenced by others. So we have to be very strong. That's why I always tell the 10, 9, 10, 11, 12 graders who are going out of Bal Vihar should have unquestionable conviction, but they belong to the right thing. That we must ensure that at the end of the 12th year. They have to be very clear about, they should not have any doubt. That is what our job is. Our main purpose is make sure that our youth do not doubt their own faith. They don't need to convert anybody else. They should convert themselves first. And there's a parental support is very, very essential at this point. See, many of the parents who did not take this seriously, and once in a while they only came to Bal Vihar, and when the children, take to other things, they're suddenly saying, oh, why is my child doing this? Because you didn't do your job. You didn't do your part of the thing. However, in spite of all these things, if the child is interested in converting, we cannot help. That's so it's a prarabdha only. Leave it. But on our part, we should not fail. We should do our part clearly. Make sure the child is fully convinced. Remove all the doubts that child may have. Then the child will be strong to protect herself or himself from all other influences.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. Amazing answers to questions, and of course the pravachan was also very nice. For everyone to know, all videos are recorded and will be shared with all of you. So rest assured you will get it. I just want to make a quick announcement. Next week is our grand finale. So we have all. I'm just sharing my screen. So it is our grand finale, and we have a target to have 1008 live participants. We want to encourage everyone to join. It is on 7th May in the evening. It will already be Gurudev's Jayanti in India. It will be 8th May there. So as a celebration, as part of being Bala Vihar teachers, we want all the teachers, please encourage everyone to join. We have an amazing session lined up. We have every presenter, every Swamiji and Brahmacharin that was there attending the session. We will have some, they are going to talk about their vision for Bala Vihar. We like Swamiji said, right now we have 20,000 Bala Vihar children. Our vision is to, grow that to at least 50,000 in the next 2 to 3 years. And we need a lot of support from every one of you. So, look forward to a great session. Please do attend. With that, I'll request Swamiji if you can do the closing prayers for everyone.
Okay. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkhabhat bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you so much.
Swamiji. Thank you for the beautiful talk.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Thank you so much.
Swamiji, thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji. Hari Om.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om. Thank you.